All right. All right, everybody, I think we're going to get started. You guys ready? All right. So we still have a bunch of seats in here for anybody that wants to fill in. Want to make sure that we got as many people in here as possible. We also have an overflow room kind of around the corner. The only thing I would ask is let's make sure we keep the exits open. So, all right. Well, I cannot describe how nice it is to see all of you. I've been checking the weather obsessively for the past 48 hours. There was a point in time I wasn't sure this was actually going to happen, which would have been really bad. So thank you for coming, obviously, and hope nobody had any sort of transportation issues. If you did, I'm sorry, but I can tell you that it's going to be worth it because it's going to be a really magical evening, and I think you guys are all going to be inspired. So let me just introduce myself. My name is David Binder. I'm a physician at Spaulding, and I'm the Director of Innovation there as well. And it's an honor on behalf of David Storto, the President of Spaulding and Spaulding Network, Ross Safont, the Chair of our department, the Department of Physical Medicine and Rehabilitation, as well as the entire Spaulding Network, to welcome you to the 2018 Spaulding Innovation Challenge. Thank you. So a little bit about tonight. Let me just go over the agenda real quick. In a few moments, we're going to hear from these 6 teams. They're going to be amazing. I think they're going to be wonderful. After they present, we're going to get a 15-minute break. So we're going to have coffee and desserts set up out back. So kind of spread around a little bit, and then we'll come back in here, and we will present the final awards. Now, right? So, and I'll talk a little bit about the awards as well. But one thing, Google was nice enough to let us use this space up until about 9 p.m. And so we'll get a chance to continue the conversation outside afterwards. But for those that haven't had enough of Spaulding Innovation, we're going to keep it going. We have some space over at Champions Restaurant at the Marriott, so we can continue the conversation there as well. So let me just start by talking a little bit about what brought us here today. The challenge started about 6 months ago, and we posed this challenge, and basically we were asking, if you're a startup, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a team, if you're a researcher, if you're a student, and you have a passion and a commitment and a vision for how to reduce disability, impairment, improve function for those living with disability, illness, injury, we want to hear from you, and we want to help. Because that's what we've been doing for over 60 years at Spaulding. A little bit about Spaulding. We're a huge network, not only inpatient rehab services, but also long-term acute care. We have 25 outpatient facilities. We are the Harvard Medical School Department of Physical Medicine and Rehabilitation. We were ranked #1, our residency program, last year. We were also ranked #1 for residency research output. We have been designated a model system of excellence in spinal cord injury, traumatic brain injury, and burn injury. We are the only hospital in the country that has those 3 designations. So I just want to give it up for all our researchers and all the staff at Spaulding that make that happen. And I say this not to boast, but hopefully to serve as evidence for our commitment to what we're doing. So as you can see, it's a team effort here. And these are just some of the images that capture the inspiration at Spaulding. We're really proud of what we do in the hospital. We're even prouder when our patients leave and go do what they need to do, what they want to do in their life. If you're interested in learning a little bit more about us, you can just email us, and we'd be happy to give you guys a tour of our facilities in Charlestown. Brand new state-of-the-art hospital, LEED Gold certified, individual patient rooms. All right, so let's talk a little bit about our challenge. So over the course of these past 6 months, We had over 46 submissions online from all over the world. We had votes. With your help and our judges, we were able to select 6 final teams. And they're here today to tell their story. And I think that it's going to become very apparent the commitment and what they're trying to do, and that how they value disability, making the world a better place, reducing illness. There's another group that also feels the same way and shares those values, and those are our sponsors, and I wanted to just recognize them at this point. Our lead sponsor is Google and Google Cloud, and I just wanted to thank them. Not only for allowing us to use this space, which is, I think you guys probably agree, really amazing and inspiring, but they are providing the grand prize winner with $100,000 worth of Google Cloud services, as well as access to their Google Surge startup program. So we're really happy with that. They're also going to give the runner-up $20,000 worth of Google Cloud services and the access to the Google Spark accelerator program here at Google. MadPow, longtime sponsor of Spaulding Innovation. They are sponsoring the $10,000 MadPow Best Design Award. They're a design firm here in Boston, but they do so much more strategy. They do usability design. They're amazing, and we're really happy to have them. Foley Hoag, international law firm. They're sponsoring us with $5,000 worth of legal services for the grand prize winner. Cambridge Innovation Center, right down the street. They are sponsoring with a 3-month membership to the Cambridge Innovation Center. But they're not just down the street. They're in Boston. They're in Miami. They're in the Netherlands. Startup innovation space in Miami sounds pretty nice right about now. But for the prize winners, unfortunately, this is just for the Cambridge Innovation Center in Cambridge, not Miami. I can anticipate that question coming, but anyway. And one thing I saw about the Cambridge Innovation Center, they recently received a $58 million equity investment, and they're going to use that to create a 145,000 square foot facility in Poland for innovation. So congratulations to them. Spaulding Innovation. Thank you. So to the leadership at Spaulding that supports this whole event, we're also sponsoring a $10,000 cash prize tonight. So $7,500 for the grand prize winner, $2,500 for the runner-up. So thank you for the leadership at Spaulding, but also to all the Spaulding crew that came out tonight. I want to just give them a hand. Thank you so much. Tim Sullivan, the Director of Communication, he made it happen. So thank you so much, Tim. All right, and Metstro. So a little word about Metstro. So we use Metstro's platform for the initial part of the online judging. And I just want to say that they've been incredibly wonderful to work with. Jennifer Joe, Jim Ryan, I know you really kind of helped us out a lot, and not only in terms of the platform, but also promoting. So I wanted to thank you, along with Brigham iHub, MIT Hacking Medicine, Philips, the Healthcare Transformation Lab at MGH, and also Partners Innovation. So thank you for helping with the advertising and the promotion of this event. All right. Oh, one more thing I forgot. So if you guys are interested in going to another really cool and interesting and innovative event, so the yearly Grand Hack is happening about 3 weeks from now at MIT. It's the weekend of April 13th. So if you're interested in these type of events, it doesn't get any better than that. One more person I wanted to thank. He didn't know I was doing this, but this is somebody that's just been really helpful and generous with his time over the course of the past 3-4 years. A good guy, a great heart. Thank you, Dan. All right, so that music could only mean one thing. We're about to meet our judges. So I have to take this out. Of course, it's in like the last pocket I'm going to check. But And there's my tag. So I tried to memorize this, and then I just kind of waved the white flag because the reality is these people are just so accomplished I can't remember everything. So in alphabetical order, let's meet our judges. All right, her name is Sherry Blowett. She's a physician at Spaulding. At Brigham. She's a Paralympic athlete in the sport of wheelchair racing. She represented the USA in Sydney, Athens, Beijing. She brought home 7 medals. And she also serves on the board of directors at the United States Olympic Committee. Let's welcome Sherry Blowett. She is a global corporate leader, a national civic leader. She's a senior vice president, global head of Client Solutions Group and the Program Management Office for State Street Corporation. She's also the national chairwoman for the largest Latino professional organization in the US, the Association of Latino Professionals for America. Let's welcome Yvonne Garcia. She's the director of Matt Powell's Center for Health Experience Design. She previously worked as a manager for Deloitte Greenhouse Innovation Lab. And while at Kaiser Permanente, she was in the Innovation and Advanced Technology Group at Garfield Healthcare Innovation Center. Let's welcome Catherine Hautanen. Dan Jones, he joined Thomas H. Lee Partners in 2007. He is the managing director and head of Strategic Resource Group at Thomas H. Lee Partners. He is the director of Clear Channel Outdoor Holdings and also is on the board of trustees at Spaulding. Let's welcome Dan Jones. He's a technologist, an entrepreneur, and a musician, not magician, musician. I knew I was going to mess that up. So he's got degrees from MIT in both computer science and music composition. He performed with the Boston Symphony Orchestra as well as the Boston Pops, and he serves as the head of startup programs for Google Cloud, Will Koffel. An advisor, an investor, and operating executive. He's a managing partner of Sedalian Partners and member of the board of trustees at Spaulding. Let's welcome Ben Levitin. The president of Partners Continuing Care and the Spaulding Rehab Network since 1998. He's a trustee of PCC and the subsidiaries, a recognized expert in post-acute care, operational management, governance, and strategic planning. David Storto. All right, so the moment we've all been waiting for. We're going to bring the teams up one by one, alphabetical order, a little bit of a kind of ground rules. So the teams are going to have 5 minutes to present, all right? And then the judges are going to have 5 minutes to ask questions, and then we'll move on to the next team, okay? All right, so we will start things off with Able Thrive. They're here to tell us about a unique one-stop platform for accessing customized resources for those with disabilities. Let's welcome Able Thrive.
Don't run away with that. Hi, my name is Brittany Dejean, and thank you for the opportunity to share Able Thrive with you today. Able Thrive is a health engagement platform to adapt and thrive with a disability. When my dad was paralyzed in a car accident, we had to completely rebuild our lives. We had access to incredible care and mentors, and because of that, my dad lives independently, drives himself to work every day, and even danced with me at my wedding. However, most people with spinal cord injuries or other disabilities do not have access to the resources that they need. Information, products, and services online are incredibly difficult to find, especially when you don't know what you need or what to look for. These barriers have direct impacts on the health and quality of life of people with disabilities. That's why we need Able Thrive, the starting point for a new life with a disability. We remove luck from the equation by using recommendation engines that ensure people with disabilities get the resources that they need. When a user registers for a free account, they answer a few questions about their interests and the details of their disability, and to receive customized support. They can also follow along, track their progress through milestones that promote an active life that reduce the risk of secondary health conditions. We're piloting with spinal cord injury. That's about 250 to 500,000 new cases every year, and 17,000 of those are happening in the United States. We currently recruit our users through 16 spinal cord injury hospitals in 4 countries that are currently sharing AbleThrive with their patients. And by targeting people at this stage, we minimize the number of people who fall through the cracks, but also maximize lifetime customer value. People who are seeking resources today currently rely on manuals or printouts or websites that don't have any custom features. At the same time, hospitals spend money on creating content and websites that are expensive and difficult to maintain. Insurance companies spend billions of dollars for preventable secondary health conditions, and vendors in the space really struggle to reach their target markets. AbleThrive addresses all of these pain points. We're starting this off by offering white labeling, or preparing to offer white labeling options for hospitals and insurance companies. So imagine if Spaulding was able to brand AbleThrive's technology and content for their patients. It not only reduces some of their headaches, but it also will provide a competitive advantage in the space. When you think about insurance companies, take pressure sores, for example. They cost about $43,000. And 14% of people who have spinal cord injuries will have one in the first year, 8.9% in the second year. If we can even reduce 1% of those occurrences, we save over $1.7 million a year. While we're focusing on white labeling as our main focus for our revenue channels, it's not the only one. As we grow our user base, we'll also be able to open up to vendors to connect to their target markets, to open up affiliate marketing and sponsored content, some of which we've already generated so far. Our pricing tiers for our subscriptions will be based on hosting the content and also offering features that include education modules, lifestyle content, and tracking options. And we'll also offer opportunities for companies to share surveys or calls to action for their clients. We plan to grow our pilot for spinal cord injury and then expand to grow to cover other conditions. We're building our technology so that it's not disability specific, so that we'll be able to adjust the tags and filters accordingly. We can also translate it into different languages to work to reach the 1 billion people in the world with disabilities today. Based on our projections, we hope that as we grow, we'll be able to reach more hospitals and insurance companies and drive our profitability through the subscription models. But we'll also, so our executive team is led by myself, Kristen, Tim, and Roman, all of whom have sector expertise in our areas of focus. AbleThrive has become a trusted brand in our sector, and we're poised to take it to the next level. We have over 10,000 monthly unique visitors, and our videos have over 2 million views and 12,000 shares on mainstream and social media. We also have over 230 partners in 13 countries that serve as resource providers. Beth Lynn at the New England Regional Spinal Cord Injury Center, some of you I'm sure may know, she believes that we can really promote or push to revolutionize the resource delivery in our sector, and we're ready to do it. If you're a hospital or an insurance company, we can not only help you provide a better service, but reduce costs and hassles. So if you have the expertise, the capital, or the passion to make this happen, I welcome you to join us. Thank you.
There we go. From a competitive landscape, anyone else doing this in the market?
So in terms of like user-centric management of health conditions, I've seen that happen for heart conditions, pregnancy, anything like that, but I haven't seen any thus far attacking the disability space, which means that the path has been laid and we should be able to cover these conditions that are otherwise under the radar. And in terms of within the disability space currently, those options that exist are either not scalable, paper printouts, things like that, or they don't offer the custom features or that we're offering.
Thank you.
Can you describe an example of the output once somebody has, entered into the system and described their condition? What is it that you're offering them?
Sure. So we want to look at this as working through chronologically. So if you have a new spinal cord injury, imagine signing on and saying, okay, do you have a new spinal cord injury? Yes. Well, here are the first modules, first 5, 10 things that you need to know that will help you get on this right path. And as these users work through bowel care, bladder care, skin care, basic things that everyone needs, we can build through to the next steps to work them through that rehab phase, transition home, and life. So by the time that they have a basic understanding, then you can move in to say, okay, and as we then learn about their mobility and things like that, we can say, okay, and this is how people in your situation get dressed. This is people in your situation who go on dates, moving through so people can work to build their quality of life in their terms.
I had a question regarding, I feel like platforms like this often benefit from really intensive user feedback as people are going through and using it. So how have you engaged the disability community in getting that feedback and continuing to improve the process?
Yeah, so a lot of that is why we have a lot of the relationships we have thus far, is because we've prioritized building our reputation and commitment to the community thus far. So, for example, the 16 spinal cord injury hospitals I mentioned, I communicate with them on a monthly basis, send a survey. So that is more leaning towards the healthcare professional side who weigh in, because they're the ones who have been using the platform in those settings. But they relay to us things that their groups have told them. We've also engaged, our team members of ours have spent time interviewing people. We've started to target more people under 5 years of a new injury, just so we can really get in the headspace of people who, they can remember clearly what it felt like to not have resources, so that we can work to solve those problems.
The numbers that you have on the sort of social media engagement and the affinity that even early patients are having with a brand are really impressive. Will you be able to continue that kind of brand affinity even when you go into more of a white label model? Are you going to be able to co-brand? Has there been appetite for that from your partners?
So right now, a lot of that, the affinity to the brand has come from social media campaigns, things that we've been working on refining how we speak about disability, so it resonates with kind of the change that we've seen. People want to be humanized. I want my dad to be seen as a dad, and that's really resonated with people. So whether Able Thrive as a consumer app, we intend for that to remain accessible. We don't want this to become something that is only for those privileged enough to end up at rehab hospitals or who have insurance. So on that vein, there will still be that standing there, but also because our campaigns have been very humanizing, successful, and community strengthening, I don't see us stopping those either.
One question, I may have missed it in the whole conversation, but if it's not white labeled, and if it's just consumer, who is vetting your content?
So regardless whether white labeled or not, we've been pulling together an advisory board that includes both people with paralysis at this stage, but also doctors. We've a doctor from Craig Hospital who's been close building this with us, and some physical therapists. So the goal, we're not telling anyone what medication to take. We're not going down that level, but in terms of an advisory level that people can approve these modules as we build and roll them out, that will come from a mix of kind of professionals and those with personal experience.
Okay, thank you.
I have to ask a question. So
you got 16 seconds.
It looked like $5,000 per hospital to white label everything you're offering.
I'm at the basic stage. We're working on those basic modules first.
Yeah.
So the first things you need to know with spinal cord injury. So inevitably those will have to adjust and shift because we'll provide more value financially for insurance companies than hospitals. So we'll have to adjust as we kind of test the market and go from there.
All right, got to cut it off there. Sorry about that. Nice job. That was great. All right, so our next team, I'm going to leave this up here for you. Our next team met at Harvard Medical School, and they track the breathing of patients using Google Cloud Machine Learning. Let's welcome Breath Track.
Thank you very much. So breath can stop for a lot of reasons, like stroke, opioids, ALS, sudden infant death, or in my case, asthma. when a person can't breathe, they can't shout for help, they can't voice command their phone to call 911. The last thing that this phone will record is their last breaths and then silence. And if that persists for 5 minutes, that person will die. So why not look at these breath sounds and how they change to no breath and use that as the voice command? So we recorded 100,000 breaths and analyzed them using Google Cloud, which allowed us to develop the Breath Track app. Now it records the first breath, now the second breath that we heard before, and now instead of waiting 5 minutes for the person to die, after 10 seconds,
no breath detected.
It puts an alarm.
No breath detected.
Now the way it works is when we breathe, we create a sound, and the microphone on the smartphone records it, or you can put a microphone closer to it that transmits back to the app, and it analyzes it in a very efficient way locally on the app, and it sends it to the Google Cloud for very intensive analysis. And we want to thank the Google Cloud team for putting us in the alpha testing of the auto machine learning, which got 99.9% accuracy. Now, once we verify that there's no breath, we send an alarm to a caretaker, a spouse, or 911, depends on what you defined. And we can also send a daily report to the doctor to know how your breath is changing. So if I'm using a new asthma treatment, it can say if it's effective or not. Our most focus is on stroke, and we want to work with the Spaulding Rehabilitation Hospital in the accelerator to really fine-tune it for stroke and their needs. We first want to approach the home, where there is no really good monitoring solution. And then when we record enough data, we want to move and get an FDA approval and go to the inpatient. And there, right now, for example, they use oximeters that wait for the oxygen to drop, which usually happens 1 or 2 minutes after the breathing stops. So we can try and detect that earlier, and it's non-invasive. And another option we're looking at is sudden infant death. And there's a lot of apps now that records the baby voice and send it to you. This one, for example, has 1 million downloads and generates thousands of dollars in ad revenue. But it doesn't tell you when the baby stops breathing, and our app does, which is what parents really care about, and you don't need to check every minute if your baby is alive. Sounds good. So we think we can have a really good success there, and we also have very strong partnerships now with ALS and Rett syndrome. So in our team, my name is Oren. I'm an auditory scientist and a research associate in the Harvard Medical School. Kuhn, right here, is the medical doctor with computer science from Stanford. William is our data whiz. We have Brian, who's our cloud expert, and Julie, who's our social media expert. And we just want to end by thanking our funders, Prize for Life, the ALS organization, and the Next Einstein competition, and our mentor, Professor Isaac Ohane, the chair of the Biomedical Informatics Department in Harvard Medical School. And most of all, we want to thank the volunteers who've been making this all possible with their recordings and allowing that analysis. And we want to thank you all for listening, and we want to say how wonderful this competition has been for us and how much we're going to make use already, going through Google Cloud and getting that connection and the auto machine learning. Wow. And if we can get $100,000 of Google Cloud credits and the search program, it will be invaluable for us. But already we've been helped so much. So thank you very much, Dave, for organizing this, and thank you all for listening.
I get the SIDS and asthma application. I'm struggling with stroke.
So we're talking about certain cases where there's central sleep apnea in stroke. And also, and so we can track those even without waking you up. But also in stroke, if there's a lethal onset of stroke, the person can die, at bed alone without having the ability to call for help. And we know that clot busting treatment is amazing in regaining capabilities, but only about 4% of people actually get it in time, right? Because a lot of time, if you have a stroke, right, you can barely talk, you can barely move. It's very limited. And we know that in stroke, it's more often than not the people who live in rural areas or in disenfranchised communities that are even less likely to reach that treatment in time. So we want to focus on that too. But obviously with the feedback from Spaulding on exactly how much we can do and when should we wake the patient, when is it strong enough for sleep apnea for us to want to wake the patient, and when we should just report it as a daily report to the doctor to know.
I just had a question about a little bit more about how it works. So is this an app on your phone that they then put near your head that it detects your breath, or how does it do it?
Yes. So when me and I guess a lot of us put our phone next to our nightstand and plug it in, right? It can either automatically or when you push a button, it will start recording until you wake up and remove it, or you can define your hours. You can also, if like my mom, you don't want to put a phone next to your bed, hi mom, because of the radiation, you can take, and I ordered a 50-cent microphone lapel, right, with 1.5 meters, and you put it wherever you want, and you put the microphone right next to the bed frame, and that is actually closer than the phone, which gets even higher accuracies. But as we said, we really, just the starting point, we just got the auto machine learning really a few days ago, and we're already making very good results. And we think that if we work further on it with Google and use the more advanced models that they have to offer, and this is just alpha, they're going to make it even better. And so we think we can reach an accuracy that now it's a foot. Soon you'll be able to put it 2 feet or even further. Because if you think about the Google Homes and Alexas that now a lot of us has, right? A few years ago, when you said to it, I remember yelling at it and it wouldn't hear. And now, a year or two afterwards, I can say it from another room while the music is playing, and it hears me phenomenally. And it also learns very well, right? So the more you use it, the more we can understand your breath, and also the noises in your place, let's say a humidifier or air conditioning, it adapts the filters to block those out. So it gets better with time, more and more accurate.
Help me understand. So when you first started, you said after the last breath, it's 5 minutes and the patient will be deceased, I assume?
Usually, and sometimes less.
I'm not a doctor, so I'm in the business world. We die differently. But let's say it detects, so it detects that's happening and it calls, let's say I define 911. My sister would be useless in this, although she's a doctor too, but so maybe she wouldn't be as useless, but she lives very far away, so she probably couldn't help me. So let's say I define 911. From the time an ambulance gets to me, is that practical? I mean, help me understand how that works.
Yeah, so because we can also send the location, if there is a dispatch close to you in Cambridge, I think the median time is 4 minutes, you're right, it's really on the spot. So what we prefer doing is, especially patients in risk, usually have a caretaker nearby or a spouse, or for example, a friendly neighbor. In Israel, we have a very successful model where everyone that knows CPR gets this app, and whenever there's a baby choking on a sausage, they know how to come exactly for that reason. So if we can register more people, that's when I use it in Israel, that's what we're going to use. But here, you're right, especially because we want to help the places with less abilities, we want to have that option. Because even before the ambulance comes, if somebody starts CPR, he's already buying you a few minutes for the ambulance to come. And once the ambulance comes, we have a very good chance of saving you, unless exactly like too much time has passed.
Thank you.
One more question just on the science. Is it just stop of breath, Or is there something else you can tell in the data that you have a theory around? You know, it's not just sort of.
Oh yeah. So it depends on the problem. For example, in ALS, you can have a mucus plug.
Yep.
Sometimes in stroke, it will be more in the brainstem. So we can define those problems and also define what causes them and help you treat those better. So it's definitely gradual. But the beauty is that because our Alexa knows how to differentiate socks from locks, you know, it's much easier to differentiate not breathing from breathing, and that's what we've succeeded to do.
Nice job. Great job. Take the microphone away. No, just kidding. So this next team is focused on enhancing mobility for wheelchair users. And I have to say they've already won the prize for longest distance traveled to come to the Spaulding Challenge, all the way from Israel. Let's give a warm welcome to Free Will.
Please take your seat.
Hi, good evening. I'm excited to be here and to have the opportunity to share with you my personal story. I would like to start from asking all of you a question. Who ever pushed a baby stroller? Pick up your hands. Great. Amazing. Now, I would like you to imagine yourself sitting on a wheelchair. You need your hands to move. So think about it. How do you push yourself and the baby stroller? Problem, right? Oh, I forgot this. One sec. Okay. So now this is not just a problem with a baby stroller. It's also a problem that wheelchair users have to deal every day while they have to use their hands to push themselves. But when they want to take other things with them, they have a problem. They lose their dependency. That's what we want to design solutions for. So now, why do I care about this problem? So hi, I'm Dana. I'm an industrial designer. I specialize in designing for people with disabilities and inclusive design. Now, I became a designer because this is my dad. That's me, 4 years old. My dad is paraplegic. I grew up with a wheelchair user dad, and he's the best dad ever. And growing up with him made me realize that people with different able bodies are not disabled. We, as a society, disable them because we don't design products for their needs, abilities, and desires, right? That's important for all of us. Now, parents that are wheelchair users are usually dependent on another person to push the baby stroller. The other person is or a family member, if they have one that doesn't go to work or dependent on that, or a caregiver that costs a lot of money. Or they stay at home. The way I call it, it's social jail. I actually interviewed some people. They stayed in their home until like their baby was a year old. That's quite sad. Now, it's not just a problem with parents. Also, families with children with disabilities, when they have a newborn and their family have a problem, they cannot push a baby stroller and a wheelchair together. You saw how I got on the stage? I could push the baby stroller and the wheelchair together. So this is a problem also, and think about it, when they go out to the park, who stays back at home? Sadly, the child with the disability. And it's also a problem with grandparents in the family. So this is how we think it should look. Thanks. No, it's all started 5 years ago with one custom design connector for a happy mom on the right. And then we designed 2 more custom design connectors for her friends. We uploaded the video of the connector to YouTube, and what happened is in the last few years, over 200 people wrote to me personally and asked to purchase the product immediately. We realized there's a need here in the market. And a year and a half ago, we established FreeWill's social startup company. Now, our solution is we're designing a universal connector between a wheelchair and a baby stroller. First of all, it's safe because it's your baby. It's easy, and it's fast connection. A parent could actually choose any stroller in the market, and it's really easy to disconnect. Our company is supported by the Israeli Innovation Authority in the last year and a half and a private investor. We've been working in the past year with 10 users in Israel through the usability testing, and next week we're starting a major usability test with 30 users, and I'm very excited about that. Our team, we're industrial designers and mechanical engineers with years of experience in the medical field, and we all believe that design is the bridge to independency. So if any one of you believes like we do and would like to join us because we need some support and help, please come up and talk to me. Thank you very much.
Do you have any competition?
Yes, and thank you. I have next slides. I have milestones if you want to talk. We can go talk about the market. And competitions. First of all, remember caregivers. Most of the people use caregivers. That costs a lot of money. The other two products on the market is Kirkham Stroller. It's of a German company. It costs $1,200. I'm not sure. I said that our target price is $300. Okay. It's a great product, but it could only be used for a parent, for a baby until 1 year old, and then you can't use it anymore. And also, a walk-in parent could not use the stroller. So people that actually live in houses with a wheelchair user will have to have 2 strollers. And that means they need to spend more money and more space to storage all of this. That's like the pluses and minuses. The other product is Random Tandem, which costs $150. It's an American company. It's similar, but there's 2 things that we do better. Ours can fold and disconnect, and it doesn't have to stay on this. I mean, it doesn't affect when I walk. I'll show you. Wait. It can disconnect really easy, and I also have another model that just folds in. And this one stays in front, so you could actually, you can have a problem to approach your baby. And we have a safety lock. The second we connect, it's locked. And this one doesn't really have any lock. So if you'll bang into like a bump in front, the stroller could fall. So they're good, but I think we're better. Hopefully, with your help to get out to the market.
A couple of questions. First up, do you have a patent? Oh, my dear.
Actually, hi. We filed one yesterday. Yes, so we'll be able to show it to you. We've been in the process for a while. We're working with a really serious company in Israel. So.
And the other question I had, you mentioned that it would also be useful for shopping and for luggage.
That's our next steps.
Okay, so it's not the same connector. It's like various.
It'll be very similar.
Okay.
We're concentrating the babies.
And how big do you anticipate this market to be?
Okay, so we're want to actually, wait, will this go like this? Can you guys help me go up to the slides, like to back? We want to produce slide number 15. Thanks. We want to produce in the next 3 years 20,000 units. That means we want to get to 4% of our potential market. We did a lot of research. There aren't really numbers of how many parents are wheelchairs. They're just numbers of how many wheelchair users, children with disabilities, and after talking with a lot of people, we figured out that we want to produce 20,000. That's like our milestone. We're now just before the pilot. By the way, we're going to file an FDA for Class A for accessories. So it will also be easier for us in the States to get the Medicare. In Israel, we started already. We understand the procedures, how to get support from the government. Because we think to be a parent is like a basic need. So everybody should be able to be independent with their children. I hope I answered the question. Hi.
So, can you provide a few examples of, like, clearly you've done some outreach to the community and working with parents who would use the product, a few examples of changes that you've made based on that feedback?
Yes. Actually, we have like different heights of handles because not everybody could actually, depends about the way they bend. So we changed also the point that some disconnect and some folds. We're actually checking this thoroughly in their next stage of the pilot. But definitely what's changed is the usability. We're putting an S-Sense that will be really easy and fast to connect. That you won't have to think about it twice. And so we worked a lot about the handles and the height and the ergonomics and how you'll be able to do it really, really easy. That's what changed. Every time we came to a pilot, we were like, okay, redesign. And we did 3 rounds like that already. Anything else?
What challenges do you anticipate rolling out this product across a huge variety of strollers? Will you need support from those manufacturers? Have you tried to pursue that?
We want to do the first batch of 500 units, and then we want to start collaborating. The difference is we have like small adapters for every stroller. Like I can show you guys like just inside here. So most of the product, the main product is universal with small adapters. And I think that will be our next thing. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Here, let me grab your control. Nice job. Do you need any help? Here, I'll grab this. I'll grab this for you. Got it? All right. Great job. All right, so our next team, physical therapy is the mainstay of treatment for so many different illnesses and injuries. This next team, they address the issue of accessibility and other issues as well. Let's introduce Patch.
Is this right? Yes. Hi, I'm Rachel, and 5.5 years ago, I was injured in a car accident. And 7 years ago, my co-founder Salman was injured while treating a patient. We both struggled to access quality and convenient care for our injuries, and we're not alone. Statistics show that 50% of you here today are suffering from some sort of pain or injury, and you're part of the 130 million people in the US every year who also suffer. And those people are facing a broken system. Between countless doctor's visits, lack of availability, traveling to physical therapy visits, to only spend 15 minutes one-on-one with a physical therapist, and then getting bills sent in the mail weeks later. This process can take 6 weeks just to get to the right PT, and then 6 hours a week after that. Patients that are in pain are frustrated with the inconvenient, confusing, impersonal, and opaque process that is pain and injury care. And physical therapists are similarly fed up with the current care options. They've talked about the high stress, zero flexibility work environments, impersonal patient visits, and inability to earn additional income on top of stagnant salaries. At Patch, we believe everyone suffering from pain and injury should have quick, convenient access to high-quality, personalized care. And that's exactly what we're delivering at Patch, starting first with convenient physical therapy. Patch is a marketplace that connects injured clients with top physical therapists that travel to treat those clients wherever they are. For clients, this means quick and convenient care and personalized care. For physical therapists, Patch is the most efficient and flexible way to earn additional income on top of stagnant salaries. Physical therapy with Patch is simple. Clients can book a visit online or over the phone. They are then matched with an appropriate care provider given their goals of care. The physical therapist spends 60 minutes with clients at the location of their choice, and then we do post-visit quality checks. We can do this process in under 48 hours. And then on a go-forward basis, our clients are spending 1/3 of their time versus traditional care options, but they're spending 3 times as long one-on-one with a physical therapist. We've built an exceptional team to build out Patch. Myself, who has experience in healthcare and finance, Dr. Salman Hirani, who is trained in rehabilitation medicine, and Zoe Hajiani, who has experience building consumer-facing technology. We've also recruited an incredible group of mentors and advisors who have experiences ranging from clinical operations, technology development, and startup strategy. Since launching in October 2017, our team has proven out our concept. We've accelerated growth, we've built partnerships with key players in the market, and we're now onboarding our first corporate client. We've also been recognized by top institutions such as MIT, Harvard, and now Spaulding. Patch earns revenue by charging 30% of whatever physical therapists earn on the platform for our services of client acquisition, client support, payment processing, and logistics management. We reach clients from 4 main ways: referrals, brand partnerships, educational content, and paid media. We've also built ongoing strategic partnerships with companies like Orange Theory and WeWork, where we can target customers who really need our services. Though we're direct to consumer, we have been approached by hospital systems and are now exploring a broader opportunity to expand their rehab care options that they offer to their patients. Patch is the only company in the care on demand space focused on building innovative services and a lifestyle brand around quick, convenient, and personalized pain and injury care, which does not exist in the market today. We are differentiating ourselves in 3 ways. Our matching system ensures client satisfaction. We only partner with top physical therapists who undergo a strict vetting process. And given our operating model, we are lower to cost and can be faster to entry into new markets, which will lead to strong network effects in the future. The physical therapy market is a $30 billion market with 10 million patients and 205,000 physical therapists. But as I said, 130 million people in the US alone could benefit from pain and injury care, which means the traditional options have led to a $360 billion missed market opportunity that Patch is poised to take advantage of. We're currently, after proving out our concept, accelerating growth, we are now raising $500,000 to fund our strategic plan of rapidly scaling our platform up to 10,000 annual visits by 2018, quadrupling our physical therapist network and improving our technology infrastructure. Patch is changing the pain and injury care market today. We're making it quick, convenient, and personalized for everyone who is suffering. And if you're interested in the space and interested in Patch, we would love to have you join us. Thank you.
How would you anticipate interacting with physicians and other disciplines in the rehab space to communicate about what's going on in care?
So one example we can provide is for total knees and hips. We've had orthopedic surgeons that have been able to work closely with us after surgery. So we do the prehab and the rehab after a total knee. And the physical therapist, myself, and the orthopedic surgeon are able to work closely to understand the patient's goals of care and to provide continuous updates for the orthopedic surgeon.
How does if the PT, the physical therapist, makes, I guess, $105 an hour, how does that compare to what they'd otherwise make, including their transportation and so that's kind of the upside for the physical therapist. What also do you understand as far as the flex capacity for physical therapists? How much supply is there out there of physical therapists eager to provide this kind of service on this platform?
Okay, answering 2 very great but separate questions. First answer is the average physical therapy salary makes approximately $37 to $42 per hour, which means our platform is paying them over twice that amount, which definitely covers their travel because they get to pick the locations that they're actually traveling to. And then the second question was about supply. So we offer services after hours or during the day, and all of our physical therapist partners work at different times. So we have people that are available after hours up until 9 p.m. on the weekends. At scalability, I would say physical therapists could do about 8 to 10 visits a day. Now they're seeing maybe 20 to 40 visits a day, or 20 to 40 people a day, depending on where they're working. In their clinics.
How do you, I think there's a broad range of, you define top PTs, but that means something different to different people. So how do you vet the therapists, and who would be the best provider for this type of platform?
So one of the things that we started doing was actually reaching out to therapists who are currently at institutions such as Spaulding, the Partners Network, Partners at Home, Mount Sinai Rehab, who have the best physical therapists. But one of the issues is there is a 4 to 6 week wait within Partners. There's an 8 to 12 week wait within the Mount Sinai Health System. Even Partners at Home, there's a 3 week wait to get a physical therapist. And so we work with those therapists and who we know are already vetted by these systems, and we're able to then provide physical physical therapy much quicker to those patients.
And just to add to that answer, we do license checks, background checks, professional liability checks, and interviews.
What's the experience for the patients as well as for the physical therapist? Do you expect that this is sort of a mobile powered thing? Is this a website? How much have you thought about the actual experience?
So our clients to date have loved this experience. I'll point to one woman who had a rotator cuff surgery and likes to be able to be made up when she goes out, and pointed to the fact that she was ecstatic that she didn't have to put on her makeup when she couldn't and go out in public and see people. She could have the therapy at her home, which she loved. And the physical therapists have also stated that they really like the experience of being able to have 60 minutes one-on-one with their customers. They get into this to help people and to treat people. They don't get into this to have double, triple bookings and have numbers jammed down their throats.
What's the experience for them finding this match to begin with? Is this feel more like an Uber? Does it feel more like a Tinder? Does it feel more like a LinkedIn?
So one of the things that we do is that we have therapists that have a wide range of expertise. So we have people who specialize in pelvic floor medicine. We have people that specialize in orthopedics and sports medicine, people that specialize in pediatrics. And so one of the things is with each patient, we speak with them about their goals of care, but then we also communicate with individual physical therapists that we feel would best match that patient. And so we really work with both sides to make sure that there's a good match for both the physical therapist and the patient. And so we're not just choosing any random physical therapist. We're making sure they have specialty and a desire to treat that sort of debility.
Thank you. Great job. All right, so we have 2 more teams left to go. All right, so this next team, they actually met at a hackathon. They've been continuing to work tirelessly to try to improve on seat cushion technology. They're going to tell us a little bit about it now. Let's welcome, I should say, Smart Air.
Hi, everyone. Is this on? Hello. All right. Hi, my name is Jeremy, and today we're introducing you to the Smart Air. First, I would like to take a quick moment to say thank you to Spaulding for this amazing opportunity, Google for hosting this. This is wonderful facilities, and everyone else who put this together. You guys did a great job, so cool. So first we're going to start off. Boti's going to come up here and talk about a problem with immobility with wheelchair usage. And then I'm going to pass it to Jason, who's going to talk about our solution and how a simple accessory can have a huge impact. And then I'm going to come back up here and talk about some of the technical details and the business sense.
Thanks, Jeremy. So the evolution of our product, our accessory, has culminated into 3 core objectives: the prevention of pressure ulcers, comfort, and independence for individuals who use wheelchairs. We know that people with reduced mobility are highly susceptible to pressure ulcers and will need to be moved every 15 minutes, either by themselves or with the caregiver's help, in order for comfort and for safety. The current gold standard solution for this problem are static air cushions. They are clinically proven to be the most effective in the prevention of pressure ulcers, and they are also by far the most comfortable. But since it is essentially a balloon, they're going to leak and deflate over time. They are currently not strong enough to inflate while the user is sitting on it, so it's hard to independently control and will require a caregiver's assistance. And they're also a manual hand pump. This does not lead to individual autonomy. As you can see here, this is not the most ideal situation. It becomes cumbersome, tiresome, time-consuming, uncomfortable, and unsafe, both for the user and the caregiver, especially if we're considering body mechanics, and does not lead to independence. It is dangerous for both the caregivers and the patients moving from a wheelchair and transferring anywhere else. It can lead to hip fractures, lacerations, pulled muscles, or even worse.
So this leads to the question of what our solution is. And our solution is to increase the independence while reducing the caregiver burden and relieving pressure sores. Next slide. And I just want to reiterate that this is not a cushion. This is an accessory. It will work with any cushion you currently own. Whether it's a single valve, a dual valve, it is a universal accessory. Next slide. And the other great thing about this is that there's nothing out there on the market like this. There are cushions out there to help with it, but you have to buy the whole unit. Ours is just an accessory and is the first product to connect individuals independently with intelligent data. Next slide. And now, as you can see, the 3D rendering of our product right here, it is elegant, it is small, but most importantly, it is powered by the wheelchair battery.
Thank you, Jason. So as you can see, the Smart Air is controlled via manual switches that can be attached to the wheelchair arm or anywhere on the wheelchair for ease of use. We have also developed a web app that can monitor the status of the cushions and send out alerts when something goes wrong. Say the cushion becomes deflated, and that can lead to pressure issues. There we go. So the Smart Air was built with accessibility in mind. We can not only, it is built with accessibility in mind. Because we've exposed control through the web interface, current eye tracking software or joystick controls can also be used to operate the Smart Air. We've also built intelligence into this product. Not only can we react to situations when the cushion deflates, we can also prevent pressure sores by automatically cycling the pressure in each cushion and mimicking side-to-side movement. Taking a look at the market, a couple numbers we really want to focus on are the 165 wheelchair users in the US alone. We also want to look at the 20,000 manually inflated cushions paid for by Medicare in 2016 alone. That gives you a little appreciation of the size of the market and the impact we can have. And finally, moving forward, we plan to work with our business mentors, our program mentors, and establish a product, or take our prototype into a productized design that we can get user testing with. Thank you all for coming out and listening to us. I guess we'll now open it to some questions from the judges.
So you said something interesting about the current product set. Can you talk a little more about the integrated solutions that I could buy today versus the accessory approach that you're taking?
Sure. Hi, my name is Vicente. So there are existing advanced automatic cushions. However, they are not accessible for people who are totally immobile. They cannot control them with their eye gaze, so they still need caregiver's assistance. And in addition to that, these products are expensive, and even though they may be partially covered by insurance, the rest of the price that users need to pay is still more expensive than this simple add-on that can provide advanced functionality to any cushion. Also, in our business proposal, we can target a larger pool of users, which are the people who already have regular cushions, not only people who have buying power for the advanced automatic cushions.
What is the price point, and will that include things like LTE radio connectivity so that this works when wheelchair users are out and about?
Sure. So we developed this with Wi-Fi in the beginning. We have not really anticipated the cell phone LTE connectivity, but that is something we will have to anticipate and grow into.
And what's the goal for the price point?
The price point. So
the price point based on how much it cost us to produce this, and this is just a prototype. This prototype cost us about $45 just to build, and we didn't even hit production. Large quantities. This is small quantities, off-the-shelf parts from DigiKey, McMaster, and our target price is to sell between $150 and $200. And the cushions, this is a dual valve cushion that costs us roughly, was it $400? Okay. And the cushions that are currently out there on the market that you can buy together is about $1,500 at least.
Would you expect that that people would there'd be potential collaborations with insurance carriers that people would buy this out of pocket as an add-on to the cushion that they then bought through insurance, or how would all of that work? I know that's tricky and you may not know yet, but.
So far, we anticipate that this will be a device that will be cheap enough so we can buy it directly to the users and not necessarily having to go through insurance. One reason why we have thought that in the beginning is that there's no insurance code for an accessory like this. Although if that is something that would be necessary for the future, if we can prove that there's a medical advantage of using this device, maybe we could think of adding existing new coverage for something like that.
And I'm going to ask my patent question again. Do you have or plan to apply for a patent?
So, in the process of developing our prototype, there are still problems that we are solving right now, and in getting this to a fully usable prototype. And we anticipate that some of these problems, which other companies have not been able to solve to make a device like this, we're working to protect those and have an advantage over possible competitors. But we haven't protected it yet.
Do you have any market research to suggest what percentage of, say, those 165,000 wheelchair users are also active users of kind of smartphones, web, smart devices? How much does that sort of limit the market size, and is that changing?
So I don't have numbers on the percentage for that, but what I will say is that to use the accessory, you either need manual buttons or your phone. Okay, so to access the web app. So it would be a lot faster to just use the buttons. If a caregiver comes over, user has mobile to reach the buttons, that'll be much quicker than to use eyes gaze, because eyes gaze can take a little bit of time to get to the web where you need to go. So to answer your question, if you don't have a mobile phone, you can still use this product.
Our goal is also to be able to integrate it with the joystick and sit-puff controls or any other controls.
Nice job. All right, well, we've got one more team ready to go. So virtual reality is a technology that is showing a lot of potential in a lot of different applications, chronic pain being one of them. This next team is going to talk to us a little bit about using virtual reality to deliver high-quality cognitive behavioral therapy. Oh, sorry. Oh, I think it's right there.
Oh, that's great. Thank you so much. My name is Dr. Jay Hefner, and I am a passionate physician who treats patients with chronic pain. Chronic pain, it sucks, and it hurts. And there are millions of us, and we spend billions of dollars treating chronic pain. Most of all, it causes more disability, and it takes away our quality of life. In the midst of an opioid epidemic and growing knowledge that procedures don't necessarily work and sometimes make us worse, we need something that's non-pharmacological. So our solution to this chronic pain problem is to take tried and true therapy called cognitive behavioral therapy and put it in the #1 selling technology that's out there right now, which is virtual reality.
So what is cognitive behavioral therapy? Cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, is a first-line evidence-based treatment for a lot of disorders, including those that come along with the experience of suffering through chronic pain. And it involves changing patterns of thinking, behavior, and emotions that really are responsible for the development, maintenance, and worsening of chronic pain. It involves working on the thoughts and beliefs that a patient has regarding pain and aspects related to the treatment of their pain or the experience of pain, shifting those because those can lead to real negative emotions and problematic emotions such as anxiety, fear, stress. We know those in and of themselves can make pain worse for chronic pain sufferers, let alone get in the way of them being able to follow through on healthy behaviors such as the treatments that their clinicians have prescribed or even activities related to quality of life. So while CBT is excellent excellent on its own in shifting this vicious cycle related to chronic pain, it has its own challenges and limitations and doesn't always apply to everyone. And this is where we think supercharging CBT as an intervention with the addition of virtual reality will really help so many more people suffering from chronic pain.
So why virtual reality? I hope that many of you tried VR before, and if not, I'll be happy to open a station just outside after we finish. But virtual reality is basically taking the patient immediately into a different environment. We use immersive headsets, meaning he doesn't know where he is. He's immediately inside a game. So we're taking him away from his pain, from his anxiety, from this vicious circle that Sarah was talking about, and we're actually engaging him in a game. And while he's playing a game in a different environment, we're measuring what he does, and we give analytics to the clinician. So what we do, VR Health is a medical device company, the first medical device company creating FDA-registered VR applications. What we do is we just put a headset on the patient for different kinds of use cases. We make him play a game, see a video, whatever he chooses. We collect and analyze the data while he's using that. VR is full of sensors on his head, in his hands, and then we provide analytics of what we saw that he did to his physician. So as I said, we're an ISO-certified medical device company, and we have FDA-registered medical applications already out in the market, and we'll be happy to create this new application for CBT. We believe that's the best way to treat that today.
So we really believe this can play such a huge role in the solution of the problem with chronic pain that so many people are suffering from. It can help with the challenges of addictive prescription medications, the problem of patients missing appointments when the pain flares up. It's so hard for them to even get out and get to the appointments in the clinic. So this can be used at home with any schedule. And it can be done virtually as well with the clinician in the clinic and the patient at home using telehealth to support the ongoing treatment and tracking the progress and data over time. And as a health psychologist, tracking my patient's progress and seeing that the interventions we're using are working is really valuable in particular. So we have a 12-week comprehensive VR CBT program. It pulls from all of the aspects of CBT that we know already work for chronic pain and really supercharges them with the effective skills that VR brings to the table, that immersive environment that can bring relaxation strategies to life for patients who aren't able to visualize on their own so easily, helping to reduce the negative thoughts that come with pain and the negative emotions, as well as really personalizing each treatment for each patient. We're so excited to offer this. Thank you.
How many data points do you need before you're able to provide the clinician with an assessment of what you, so how often does, I know it's a 12-week program, but within those 12 weeks, how often do you expect the patient to utilize the device?
At least weekly, daily, often, or would be the types of homework assignments that we would give a patient in that setting. It could be more than that. That's the beauty of it. They can use it as frequently as they like. And as a clinician, I'd be able to see their progress and see what that's yielding.
The idea is that the patient will be able to take the VR back home and use it at home without coming into the clinic or without seeing the physician, and then the physician gets the data into his computer. So besides the one-on-one sessions, it can also be done at home, just as much as he likes, because it's fun. So as much as we've seen with other applications we're creating, people are just enjoying the game. So they're doing the treatment for whatever kind of reason that it needs to be done.
Can you give me a specific example of a success that you've had using the platform? Like one patient or?
So VR CBT is not out yet,
okay.
But other applications that we have is for physical therapy. VR Health develops, we have three different applications for physical therapy already FDA registered. And we are using it in clinics around the States. And what we see is, at this point, it cannot be used at home yet because the hardware is not accessible at home yet. It will be out in 6 months. But people are coming into the clinic, and instead of doing the regular session of physical therapy, different kinds of movements or different kinds of instructions. They're just playing a game or watching a video, and they have the headset on. And when they finish the game, they see their score. The clinician shows them on the screen how well they did from one session to the other. And when we have the session at home, they can do their home exercises as well, and the clinician can just pick up the phone and say, listen, you're doing great. I'm going to change your regimen for next time without you even coming in. So the patients are happy, the clinicians are happy, and the outcomes are coming out and they're good.
Could you talk a little bit about the business model and whether you anticipate the ability to get third-party reimbursement or?
Okay. So we have two different parts for the business model. One is the VR, and the other one is the clinician sessions themselves. So the VR sessions, that what we do today is it's a very basic business model. It's $99 per application. We have different applications, and it's per month. So it can either be billed per month, or it can be, if we're talking about a 12-week program, then it's for 3 months upfront. Or we see many people today that are using this in other applications, as I said, and they're even happy to pay it out of pocket. But we know that there are already CPT codes for the sessions themselves, and just at the end of 2017, they created CPT codes for telerehabilitation, so that can also be used at home.
Can you talk about the evidence you have for the effectiveness of using VR to address specific chronic pain?
So I will be able to tell you a bit more about this in about a year, because we've just came out to the market. For now, we have very happy clinicians and very happy patients, and in different user testing we did both with young and adults. We had user testing with people between the ages of 55 and 75. They were so happy to do their physical therapy. They said they never had such a fun experience while they were doing their therapy. And they had no problem with the technology. The funny thing was the VR was so easy for them, but afterwards we gave them a tablet to fill up a form. That gave them some trouble. So it's very easy.
I would just also answer that by saying there's quite a bit of literature that's come out that's looked at VR for acute pain, but none for chronic pain. And the reason why is because acute pain, it's mostly distraction. So you're taking this non-specific content that's available, just public space, public domain, and using it to distract patients. We're actually building content that is going to be prescribed by people and is actually going to change their thoughts, behaviors, and feelings about chronic pain. So that's a big difference between actual building out content versus distraction, which is where the market is right now.
Can you talk a little bit about how you would get that patient feedback? So is it things like physiologic indicators like their heart rate goes down, or is it things like patient-reported outcomes, or how would you get that feedback along the way, in what form?
So, Ken? Okay. So there's two different places we can see it. VR, as I said, has sensors on it. So we can see, first of all, physically, we can see range of motion. We see how well the patient is moving from one session to the other, and we see that when he's feeling better, when his feelings are more, sorry.
I'm so sorry. Well, we can definitely continue the conversation afterwards. I'm so sorry. I hate being the bad guy, but I have to be fair to everybody. Let's give him a hand. All right, so let's give all our teams a real big round of applause. All right, so why don't we take a 15-minute break? And there's coffee, there's desserts. We left some food out there, and then we'll come back here. And one last little plug, if I could. Ron Hirschberg, who's one of the physicians at Spaulding and Chucklow, have developed this really great podcast. It's not just about music. It's about science, technology, culture. I've been listening to them for a very long time. It kind of goes very well with the theme of the night. So just wanted to give a little plug out there and check them out. It's great. Thanks. What's that? Sorry. Sorry. All right, so I think we're ready to get started. So I hope you guys got some coffee and a little sugar in you. We're almost done here. Okay. So I just wanted to say a quick word about all the teams. Clearly they've spent a lot of time and oftentimes a lot of money to do what they're doing. A lot of people oftentimes reflect on some of the challenges that we have in healthcare. But I have to say, after seeing all of this, I can't help but be somewhat encouraged. And I wanted to just give them a big round of applause. All right, so let's go ahead with the prizes. So I'd like to introduce Catherine Houtinen from MadPow to introduce and award the MadPow $10,000 Best Design Award. Thank you. I think you should turn.
Hello, everyone. Is this working? Okay. Anyway, hello, everyone. I'm so glad to be here. My name is Catherine Houtinen, and I am from MadPow. And it's been really exciting to see all the work that you guys have really put into it. It's really inspiring to see the energy and the enthusiasm, both from your work and how the audience is reacting to all of your innovations. So MadPow, just as a quick side, is a digital design strategic agency. We are specialized in behavior change, experience design, and organizational design for innovation organizations. And I am the director of the Center for Health Experience Design, which is a new organization in which we're trying to foster communication across the health system between pharma and health plans and healthcare organizations. And just one quick note before I announce the award, we have a conference coming up in June 26th and 27th. It's our annual conference called Health Experience Design, and it's going to be in Cambridge. And if you go to madpow.com, you can learn a little bit more about the conference, but it's really about using the world of design to help transform the healthcare space. So to that end, I'd like to announce the winner. And we had a big debate as we were discussing all the great work that we saw. And I decided to go with a company that's doing work that still is in development, but I think it has an interesting approach to a problem that's pretty challenging, especially here in Massachusetts and other places in the New England area as far as pain management. So I'd like to award the $10,000 MadPow Award to VRCBT.
I'm sorry. Oh, I'll grab it. Yeah, thank you. All right, congratulations. All right, so before we get on to the grand prize and the runner-up, I just want to acknowledge Jeremy Trout and Francois in the back, the audiovisual team, the technicians that have just done an amazing job tonight. Thank you so much. I feel like, sometimes I struggle with, little things with like PowerPoint or Excel. So, they had to combine, like 6 PowerPoints from around the world into this one document, and then my slides, and then there's audio, but there's also video. And so I just thank you so much. You guys did an awesome job. Thank you. Yeah. All right. So I'd like to introduce David Stordo, the president of Spaulding and Spaulding Network, to announce the grand prize and the runner-up.
Well, thank you all for being here tonight. Thank you, Google, for hosting us and all of our sponsors as well. Before I announce the runner-up and the winner, there's another winner that I want to acknowledge. And every organization has people who are superstars, and there's nothing that pleases a leader of an organization more to just see people who are just, self-initiating and industrious and creative and bright and work well with people and can pull off just amazing feats in events like this. And at Spaulding, we have one of those superstars in Dr. David Binder. Big round of applause for Dr. David Binder. Seriously, this is amazing. I won't bore you with too many details, but I remember when he first came to talk to me about a hackathon, and as I said at the first hackathon, I thought that was a bad coughing spell, and I've learned a lot from David. Thank you so much. So, in terms of the tonight's contestants and the proposals we've heard, it's tough being a judge. You're all winners. You're all winners getting to this point. You've all been finalists after all of the submissions that came through online over the past several months and, already being evaluated. So at this point in time, you're the best of the best, and we're trying to stratify that even more. With a lot, and don't in any way, be misled by the fact that we only had 15 minutes to figure it out. We could have stayed in the room and debated it all night in certain ways, but we had to obviously come to some decisions. So, and by the way, PwC did not, deal with our votes. They didn't do the tally. We didn't even let Dave do the tally. We kind of figured it out on our own, but it was a great process actually. So the runner-up of tonight's event is Able Thrive. It's weird when you don't have anything immediately to hand somebody that's concrete, but you know what you won, right? So, the winner, the grand prize winner is Free Will.
All right, well, thank you so much to the teams, the audience. Thank you so much for coming. Hang out with us for a little bit longer, and then we'll be over at the Marriott if anybody's interested. Thank you so much, and hopefully we'll see you next year.